Many brands are struggling to create a content strategy for their business. They don't know what to do, where to start, and how to effectively engage with their target audience. With a well designed content strategy, you can reduce the time it takes to produce a high quality piece of content. This means that you can spend more time creating quality content for your audience. So, in this particular episode, I will share 6 steps to design your content strategy, which would help you to put forth the brand identity, increase brand visibility, and increasing revenue by engaging with your target audiences. So I have created an amazing presentation for you in the form of a mind map where I'll be giving you the entire blueprint of how to take it further. But before we go ahead to that particular blueprint, let me introduce myself. Hi, my name is Digital Mitthyl and I am a digital content strategist who is on a mission to help solopreneurs build their digital empire with my self-made entrepreneur program. And if you are watching this particular video for the first time, you are on this particular channel for the first time, this is a channel where I create lots of content with respect to personal branding, content creation, and business building. So with 15 years plus of business experience, I bring this expertise and share lots of ideas and lots of valuable tips and content for you exclusively. So without wasting much of our time, let's go ahead and let's understand the system, the blueprint of how you can design your content strategy for your brand. So I hope, let's go ahead and yes. So now I think you are able to see the content mind map. If yes, I want you to please share yes in the chat so I'll get to know that yes, it is visible for you, so that it will help me to take this thing further in the right way. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live. And if you're watching this as a replay, thank you so much. So, in this particular episode, I will be sharing how to design content strategy in 2022. So, let's go ahead and let's understand each of them in the right way. So, the first and foremost, before we understand the steps, the process, the system, let us primarily understand what is a content strategy. A content strategy is primarily a high level planning, execution, promotion, and an ongoing management of the content life cycle to support key business initiatives. So, lots of students ask me that, Mithil, when it comes to content, what is the difference between a content strategy and a content marketing strategy? Are both of them same or they are different? So let me just give you my thought process on what is, how both of them are different, the content strategy and the content marketing strategy. So here is the difference. The first is that when it comes to content strategy primarily focuses on a higher level of business activity. It also gives you a roadmap that guides your content marketing, as well as it involves defining content success. So the whole behind the scene of creating a content is content strategy. So content strategy is the first step, content marketing is the next step. So when it comes to content marketing strategy, basically it is a process of organizing, scheduling, creating, publishing, and promoting all the various content pieces that you have created for your brand. Basically, it is nothing but the tactics that follow from the content strategy. So they both are interconnected, but content marketing strategy can't happen without a content strategy. If you want to become successful, you need to have a content strategy. Then only your content marketing strategy will work precisely. Each of the content, the hard work that you put behind creating that content will come in place only when you will be able to create a content strategy. So, when it comes to content strategy, I would like to share a few of the statistics before we go ahead so that you will have a fair idea on why this entire thing. So when it comes to content strategy, 43% of all the B2B content marketers have a content strategy. Around 60% of the most successful B2B content marketers have a content strategy, and at least 21% of the least successful B2B content marketers have a content strategy. So now you understand that each of the statistics that I just shared with you, how crucial it is to have a content strategy. This statistics is based on the various metrics from content marketing team. So let's again go ahead to the mind map to understand it better. All right. So now the third thing is, why do you need a content strategy? I just shared with you some of the statistics. However, let me give you a food for thought. Creating content without purpose, simply for the sake of putting something out there so that you are training the algorithm that yes, I am active, you are showing to the people that how much tremendous hard work I'm putting in creating the content, it can be costly and also time consuming mistake. So this is a food for thought. Creating content without purpose, simply for the sake of putting something out there, can be costly and time consuming mistake. So what are the benefits of having a content strategy? So there are three benefits. Benefit number one, it clarifies your brand messaging. Second, it builds credibility. It shows that how unique you are, how authentic you are, and how can your consumers, your customers can rely on your brand, your product. And the third one is it creates consistency. There's a book that I am reading these days is from James Clear called as Atomic Habits, and the four laws which are mentioned in that particular book, it clearly gives you the habit of going into the consistency mode. So the four laws that I have written also on my whiteboard is the cue, the craving, the response, and the rewards. So when you follow these four laws and if you inculcate all the various techniques which are given in that particular book, they are mind blowing and it is a must for all the content creators. So if you particularly want to read that book, you can find the link in the description. Do grab it. Trust me, it's worth the investment. So here is why I shared with you that why content strategy is important. Now let's go ahead to the next step where, like, when we create a content strategy, what it should define. Okay, so there are seven things that your content strategy should define. First, what are you trying to accomplish? This is the first question that you should ask. Second, who you are trying to reach? Who is your target audience? You basically try to create a customer avatar or a persona and you try to be connected to it. Third, what type of content you will publish, whether it's a short form, whether it's a long form, whether it's a video, whether it's an audio, whether it's a blog, whether it's a media, whether it's just text. So depending, or whether it will be an email, depending upon what type of content. All right. The next one is how your content will support the brand, because again, there has to be an ROI. So basically, even your time is an investment. So there has to be a return over investment for whatever type of content you try to create. Fifth is the ways in which your content will be differentiated, because otherwise you as a content creator will get confused and the people who are consuming your content will also get confused. Sixth, how you will promote and amplify your content. So one of the interviews which I had taken of a very wonderful podcaster called as Anurag, so he has shared in that interview that it always should go with 20-80 ratio. So again, we follow the 80-20 rule. So 20% is content creation and 80% should be in the promotion of that content, because that is going to bring visibility, engagement, and conversion. The seventh one is the matrix that define success. So these are the questions that you should able to justify and answer it in the right way before you start creating the content. Because if these seven questions have a clear cut answer in front of you, it will be very easy to try to filter out and try to let's say, bring all this answers, the seven answers from these questions into that content, and this will be also displayed to the consumers who are going to consume your content. So be very specific and take it very seriously when it comes to creating content. Do not create content because there is a trend of it. Create a content because there is a message behind it, and the message is your brand visibility, your brand engagement, and your brand conversion. So always have these three things in mind before creating a content. Otherwise you will be also be you won't be able to stand out from the crowd. So this is how your content strategy should define. The next one is, what is the behind the scene, what is the thought process when it comes to creating content strategy. So here are the six thought process that you should think about when creating the content strategy. Thank you, Kavita, for sharing that. Yes, it's a good information. So the very first thing is, these are the six questions I want you to ask when you craft your content strategy. So before you take a piece of paper and start planning your content strategy, write these six questions, answer the six questions, and then the roadmap, the blueprint which I'm going to give you, if you follow that, you will get mesmerized by the way you have created the entire strategy. And then kindly check the response of how your turnover, your business was last year compared to this year with respect to organic strategy. So the first question that you should ask before crafting your content strategy is, who will be consuming your content. So defining your customer avatar, a customer persona, is very crucial. Second, what problem will you be solving for your audiences? Now, understand one thing. Why do we create content, or what is primarily a content? A content is nothing but a solution to the problem people are seeking out. Ask yourself, why do you go on the internet? Most of the time, people go for three things. First, they go for entertainment. Second, they go for getting inspired. And third, for education. Most of the people who go on YouTube, most of the people try to find a solution to a particular problem that they want to immediately get the results from, or they are looking out for some kind of a review. So basically, they have a question in their mind and they always go to YouTube to find the answer. So, how your content, which is basically a solution to a person's problem, is going to define how effective you are with respect to that. Thanks, Meenal, for saying that. Yes, it is really helpful. The third question that you should ask is, what makes you unique? Now, there are thousands of other people, thousands of other brands who are doing almost the same thing. What makes you unique? How do you define your USP? So I want you to share me in the comments, how are you unique with respect to the other competitors? What exactly you do which makes you stand out? Because in that way, since it's a YouTube a video or a podcast, people will search and people will get more attention to all the comments which you are sharing below. And that is how you will get much better results. Thanks, Damodar, for saying that yes, you agree with the various topics and the content which I'm sharing here. The fourth question that you should ask is, what content formats will you focus on? Now, when it comes to creating a content, we have short content and we have long content. We have blogs, we have video format, we have audio format, we have visual format, that is images, we have infographics. So again, which content format will you be focusing on, which your consumers love to consume? How are you going to create a unique content which will make you stand different from the competition? And that's how people will connect you better, and it will be a very easy thing for the people to make the decision to go ahead with you. The fifth question that you should ask is, what channels will you publish on? I have covered in the blueprint everything with respect to this. The sixth question and the final question is, how will you manage content creation and publication? See, understand one thing. Planning, almost all entrepreneurs are great when it comes to planning. The only successful people, uh, the successful entrepreneurs are different from the rest of the entrepreneurs is basically of a very important part called as execution. So there are two types of entrepreneurs. One is a thinker, another is a doer. Define yourself, who you are you a great planning person, or are you also a great executioner also? Because that's how success will come to you. Because if I give you my example, at the early stages of building my empire, I was great in making lots and lots of planning, strategy, and everything else. But later on, I realized that 80% of my time I was putting into crafting the strategies and planning all these things, and only 20% was going into action. And that's how I was not getting the results which I was desiring or which I deserved. I completely changed the entire pattern, where now I focus 20% into strategy and 80% into execution. And that's how I'm able to define the success which I want each month, and the success which I want for each of my students. So when it comes to building my tribe, the VIH tribe, which I call, proudly call as the wolf pack. So all of those people, almost everyone is a doer, everyone is an executioner, and that's how each of them get the results. So here are the 6 questions that I want you to think on and answer before you start crafting your strategy. And if I have missed any of the other questions which you think were crucial, share me in the comments, and that will also help the other solopreneurs, artists, and coaches who are watching this particular episode. They will get lots and lots of ideas on it. So now let's go ahead and let's move on to the last part of the section for which you had come today, and that is the blueprint. So I have created a blueprint based on the program that I have created called as the Bot Lab, also called as the Business Organic Traffic program. It's a live program of 4 weeks. So here is basically a gist of what I do it in that particular program, but I will give you the entire blueprint so that you will understand this in a much better way. So the blueprint goes by an acronym called as create, because we create content. So when we create content, I've created the entire system based on the acronym itself, create, so it will be very easy for you to remember. So when it comes to create, it starts with C. So what is C stands for? C stands for conceptualize. The R stands for research. The E stands for evaluation. A stands for action. T stands for timing the matrix. And E stands for engaging with your target audience. So let's go ahead and let's understand now each of them, so you will have a fair idea on the entire process. So first and foremost, let us focus on conceptualize. So when it comes to conceptualize, the very first thing that you need to do is establish your content goals. So based on the HubSpot, so there are 3 things which basically help you in establishing your content goals: awareness, evaluation, and purchase. So these are the 3 stages of the customers where they are when it comes to your brand. So when you're building your brand, the very first step or the very first stage where the customer comes is the awareness. So when it comes to the awareness, the things that you can bring in as a content is white paper, ebook, various types of kits, tip sheets, checklist, how-to videos, and educational webinars. So this is where it will help your brand to build awareness and visibility. Once the customer moves from this stage, goes to the second stage where the customer wants to evaluate. So the second stage of evaluation is where you can create content where the customer will undergo something called as product webinar, case study, samples, frequently asked questions, data sheets, as well as demo video. And later on, when it comes to the third stage where the customer has now evaluated and wants to now progress ahead into taking the decision and going ahead and finalizing the point or got the solution to the problem they were seeking. So when it comes to the purchase, how you can help them in that entire process is by creating content which can give them free trial or live demo or one-to-one consultation or giving them an estimation or also helping them with coupons. The second thing is when it comes to conceptualizing the content strategy, you need to define your audience segments and also the buyer persona. What usually we do is with respect to brand building, we just make one customer persona. To begin with, it is good, but later on you need to bifurcate based on the various age groups, based on the various target audiences and the various personas. So the more precise you make different types of personas, it will be very easy for you to define the strategy and create the content in that way. I personally have around 12 personas based on the various platforms and the various things that I do. So whenever I create content, I know if I'm making a content for Instagram, I have to focus on this segment of personas. When I'm creating content for LinkedIn, this is the segment that I need to focus on. When I'm creating content for podcast, I know what type of audiences are going to listen to it, and that's how I defined my content based on the personas who are going to consume that particular content. Third is conduct a content audit and a gap analysis. So basically, what you should do is you should map the content needs throughout the customer journey. So when you do that, you will have a fair idea. So how you can do that is, like for example, I'm following a sales funnel called as IDA, which stands for awareness, consideration, intent, and purchase. Also called as awareness, intention, desire, and action. So in the end, if you see, it's all about retention of the customers. So when you retain the customers, so ask these questions. What do potential customers do? Where do they go online? Because that's how you will define the platform which is important for you. What information do they want? So what are they seeking for in that particular platform? And how is the content presented? Is there, for example, if I go to Clubhouse, which is a platform, it's a complete live audience audio platform. So what kind of a content is presented there? Audio content. What's a podcast? A audio platform. What's a YouTube? A video platform. What's an Instagram? It's a mixture of images, text, uh, graphics, as well as videos. So that's how defining on the platform will get to know how is the content presented there. So when you are able to define the platforms, it will be very clear for you to create content accordingly. So this was with respect to the first step, and that's called as conceptualize. The second is called as research. Now, anything and everything that you do, everything should come from research because research is very crucial. So let me first make some clarity on what is a keyword research. So a keyword research is a foundation of an SEO focused content strategy because it guides you to the most valuable topics and keeps you organized. So if you are watching this video on YouTube, and if you want me to help you create more ideas and give you lots of blueprint with respect to building your content with respect to SEO, do share me below what are the various topics that you want me to create content on, and I'll be more than happy to provide that awesome value to each one of you, and we'll also give you a shout out while creating that content. So when it comes to research, what are the various steps that you should follow? The very first is identify the relevant keyword phrases and the questions to the target. Now, where can you find this relevant keyword phrases? There are lots of free as well as paid platforms. So primarily, when it comes to free, I use Uber Suggest. When it comes to paid, I go for Ahrefs as well as SEMrush, and there are many other platforms from where you will get SEO oriented keywords. Also, when you're creating content for Pinterest, YouTube, try to take the content, it's the keywords itself from those platforms, because they are the ones who give you tremendous amount of uh, ideas, content, things that people are researching for. In fact, you can also go to places like Answer the Public, Quora. You can also visit my forum, my community forum, where there are lots of other keywords that people keep on asking questions, and you will be able to get the questions that people are asking, your target audience that are asking. Second step that you should do after that is collate everything on the spreadsheet. So you take an Excel sheet and you put all the content there. And then third, prioritize the topics which are based on the search volume. So demand, supply. So there is a demand of a question or a keyword, and your content is the supply for that. So based on the search volume, prioritize your content based on your brand current focus. What is it currently focusing on? Which program or which product they want to sell? Are they looking for only visibility? Are they looking for more on engagement? Based on that, create content accordingly. So this was with respect to the R, that is research. The third one is evaluate the content. So once you have put everything onto the spreadsheet, do the three steps. First, deciding the platform. So I have shared this thousands of times that when it comes to a platform, there are two types of platform. First is a traffic oriented, and second is an engagement oriented. Now when it comes to traffic oriented, we have YouTube, podcast, blogs, forums, as well as Pinterest, where there is ready made traffic. When it comes to engagement oriented, we have something like Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So these are the three top engagement platforms. Of course, we have Reddit and other platforms also, but these are the top three which ranks with respect to engagement. So try to pick and choose two platforms each from traffic as well as from engagement, and try to create content accordingly. The second step is the type of content marketing. Now, when it comes to type of content marketing, so you need to define whether you want to go with blog post, ebooks, case studies, templates, infographics, videos, podcast, and also social media. So, depending upon the social media platforms, you can define which content works where, and based on that, you can pick and choose the content marketing strategy based on the content strategy. Then the third one is the variety of content. So here is a huge list of content that I have personally seen from so many years. So we have content like blog post, article, white paper, ebook, guide, case study, interview, checklist, template, news, topic cluster, infographics, data visualization, survey, presentation, video, podcast, demo, tool, etc. So depending upon this, these are the variety of content, and based on your expertise you can define which works better for you. And based on the sales funnel, there is each of the sales funnel has different types of content which works. If you want me to make a video on that, I want you to share in the comment that yes, I want a video where which content goes on the which stage of the sales funnel, and I would love to create that content for you, but only if lots of people ask in the comment section. After the E comes A. A stands for action. As I told you, 20% in planning, 80% in action. So when it comes to action, first and foremost, create a content creation system so that it will be very easy for you to understand what to do first and what to do last. So as I recommended the book called as Atomic Habits. So habits are basically nothing but a series of small actions, which nothing but is a complex ecosystem called as a system. So when you we humans, when we follow that particular system, we get the desired results at very less time. So the process with respect to content, I have just shared one of the process over here that I follow is keyword research, title, content brief, draft, then I edit it, revise it, then I select the media selection. I decide what is the layout going to be, how do I optimize it based on the competition, browser preview, how it's going to look into the browser. Now when it comes to browser preview, there are three browser previews. One is a desktop, second is the tablet, and the third is the mobile. Now understand one thing, 80% of the people, let me just write this down. So we have desktop, we have tablet, and the third one is the mobile phone. So when it comes to content consumption, 80%, more than 80% of the content is consumed on the mobile phone. So try to create content which is mobile friendly. Later on, publish, and then engagement, that is Q&A. So this is the process that you can follow. So this was the fourth step of the blueprint called as action. Now, once you have published it and it has gone into the various platforms, it is time to time the matrix. So when it comes to timing the matrix, so what I primarily do is I analyze my content performance every first and every 15th of every month, so that I'll get to know that which content is performing, what type of demand is there in the market, and whether my content is providing the supply or trying to satisfy the question which people are asking, and which are the type of content which is working right now based on the trends and many other factors. And then accordingly I define the next month content strategy, and then accordingly I start creating the entire planning based on it. So when it comes to timing the matrix, measure your results for your content strategy. So when it comes to a brand, the important matrix to focus would be consumption matrix, second is social sharing matrix, third is lead matrix, and fourth is sales matrix. So when it comes to consumption matrix, you need to understand the average time on a page. So understand one thing, why would any social media platform promote your profile, your content organically? It is basically how good is your content which is keeping that particular audience on that particular platform. So what is an average time on the page? Bounce rate, so are people leaving very soon, or are they staying there and taking time in consumption, because that is creating a favorable situation for every platform. And the page views, so this is the consumption matrix. Okay, and where can you find all these matrix? You can find matrix on Google Analytics as well as on various social media platforms. Apart from the four important metrics which I just shared, there are other metrics with respect to the brand also. One is Google ranking, second is number of ranking keywords, third organic visibility percentage, fourth organic Google organic market share, fifth is traffic, whether it is organic traffic, paid traffic, or referral traffic, or also we can call as affiliate traffic. Then we have engagement, conversion, qualified leads, and revenue. So only when you have defined a matrix system, so there are many platforms, paid platforms people use. One of them is called as Click Magic. So it gives you the entire matrix of from the lead. So all the stages of the sales funnel are given there on Click Magic and many other platforms also. So you can try and check it out that. And the last step of the blueprint is the most important step is engaging with your target audience. Because only when you're going to see, ultimately, you created a content which was the solution to the problem your consumer wanted it. So now, when the content is out there in the platform, and when the consumer is trying to consume that content, they want to know more. They want to speak to the brand, the face, and want to try to build the credibility. So when it comes to engaging with your target audience, what is the key point that you should focus is prioritize quality over quantity. But that does not mean that you neglect the consistency part over here. So understand, you sometimes people in when it comes to creating a quality content, they go into the concept of something called as perfection. So don't go into perfection, because there is nothing called as a perfect content. There will always be a flaw. Even this particular episode, for some people who are critic, they will think that no, this is not a quality content. But there will be few people who will feel that yes, this is a quality content. I want you to share me in the comment, was this a quality content or not? So I'll get the feedbacks based on it. And if you like this particular video, it just give me a thumbs up on this particular video, which will give me a motivation to create more and more content like this. So the key, the note that you need to have is, don't squander the opportunity to connect to your audience by serving them lazy content. Because when you build a momentum by creating good content, and then once you have the momentum going on, and if you are an alligator entrepreneur, so there are three types of entrepreneur that I define. So very soon I'm going to create content based on what's an alligator entrepreneur. So alligator entrepreneurs are the ones who eventually, they first create good content, and then eventually they create lazy content, and they lose the momentum. So what is the key takeaway over here is, make your brand stand out with exceptional quality content. So The one crucial thing that you should focus is when you are trying to create a content strategy, try to build something called as EAT, where E stands for expertise, A stands for authority, and T stands for trust. So when you try to build these three things, expertise, authority, and trust, it becomes very easy for the customer to take the decision to purchase the product. So how can we do that? Is by evoking an emotional response. Now, what do you mean by that? And why do I need to do that? Please understand. A human brain subconsciously processes 11 million bits of sensory information each second. With respect to the uh, let's say conscious level, only 40 bits per second is done. And it is rightly said, in fact, by Harvard professor Gerald Zeltman. He estimates that 95% of our decisions are made subconsciously. So how can I make a consumer purchase or take the decision to buy my product subconsciously? First, understand that human needs emotion to take action because we base our decisions on feelings. Now there are two things over here, something called as an internal belief and something called as an external belief. When it comes to an internal belief, let's assume that you wanted to buy a expensive car. Now you wanted to buy an expensive car for some reason, okay, which only you know it internally. But when you go and you take the car and you show it to the family, you will try to give an external belief which will justify the decision that you purchase, but never the internal belief. You wanted to for example, an internal belief will be it was always your childhood like dream to own a Mercedes. But when you take it home and you say that, like, this is the top end model with this much torque, and it goes from 0 to 100 in this much second, so that was an external belief. But internally it was your childhood memory, it was your childhood dream to buy a red color Mercedes who will be parked in your garage. So again, the decision was taken based on the feeling, irrespective of the performance of that particular product. Second, people are more likely to share content that triggers an emotional response, especially an high arousal emotion. Third, emotional content draws in users, prompts action, and encourages sharing. And that's why if you see most of the entertainers or content which is more of entertaining, why those content goes primarily viral is because of emotion, high arousing emotion, happiness, sad, anger, anxiety. So these are all very strong emotions, and that is the reason why those content goes viral and people become social influencers. So this was the entire blueprint of how you can create an engaging content and amazing strategy. So create, conceptualize, research, evaluate, action, timing, and engagement. And also, if you want to learn much more in detail, there is a link below of a program called as BotLab program, called as Business Organic Traffic, which is a 4-week live program where we go more deeper into understanding your target audience, keywords, SEO, storytelling, copywriting, advanced YouTube, podcast, blog, traffic, lots of things. And it's more of a group synergy with complete my handholding and my support and my expertise, and that's how we take it further. So now if you have any particular question, let's go ahead and let's address questions with respect to this and understand how this particular strategy was crucial for you. So if you are watching this live, share me the question in the live chat, and if you're watching this as a replay, you can comment below and I will give you the answer based on it. And if you found out this particular content, this piece of blueprint important and worthy for you, give me a like. It means a lot to me. And if there are no questions, to all the people who are watching this live, I request you to type done so that I get to know that yes, there are no questions whosoever people who are watching this particular video live. So let's go ahead and let's take the live Q&As now. And if you want to get connected and connect more and get to know more information and want to learn more various contents, so there is a gift for you. So there is a link in the description. You can join my Telegram channel where I give lots of inputs, lots of ideas, and it's kind of a forum where we all discuss, and people can ask me questions. So if you are a content creator, uh, or you are seeking more information with respect to building your brand, creating content, or digital business, this is the right place for you. So the link is below. Click on it and welcome to the forum. So, since there are no more questions from all the live audiences, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live. And if you're watching this as a replay, thank you so much. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. So, this is Digital Mitthyl signing off right now. Until next time. And till that time, stay safe and don't forget to keep creating.